Yeah, I thought it was a fun game, and for a lot of reasons, and great to see us come out and play the way we did. I think we had 16 assists in the first 15 minutes and played Washington State basketball for about 15 minutes and figure out how to win the game after that. But I think we're showing a little more signs of life, and it was fun to get a win.
4 games now with 90-plus points in your first 6. At what point does it stop being an outlier and what you and turn into what you expect from this offense?
I think it just kind of depends on the pace of the game. Like we're starting to play a little more efficient basketball. Tonight was not good from 2, but typically we've been pretty good from 2 in scoring the ball, and that's going to always be consistent, I think. But I think we have a high-powered offensive team. We've got a bunch of guys who can shoot and pass, and once we kind of figure out how to be a little more consistent, we'll be able to put some numbers up.
What makes this team so good about finding the open man and seeking out those assists? Because not every assist is going to be a pass to some wide-open guy.
I think it's something that we just emphasize. We have our guys. It's the first thing we do in the warm-up is making sure we're working on passing. We show a lot of film on it. The guys buy into it. I mean, we have a group that thinks that we're the best passing team in America. Now we got to cut out some turnovers if we're actually going to be considered that. But I think we really have bought into that, and it's showing when we have stretches like that in the first half.
Dan was saying he gives you a lot of credit for the talent that he has on his team, obviously getting to recruit those guys and then having your guys on your team. Just what are your thoughts on that and getting to see some of the guys that you helped get to Eastern and get to Cheney perform at a good level tonight? Yeah, no, it was kind of weird watching film for the last 4 or 5 days of these guys, and I love them. It was hour and 10, hour 15 before the game. They were all on the floor. I got a chance to go say hi to them and talk to them briefly. It's a lot of love there. It's been cool to see how well they're playing. To see Nick coming off that injury from last year and come and play like he is great. Mason's had a couple really good games. Some of these guys are doing well and really developing at a fast rate, and that's all credit to them. They worked their tails off. They were in the off season without a coach at times, and I would hear that they were all at the warehouse getting extra runs in, and they were all in the gym getting extra workouts in, and we got a bunch of gym rats that have been in the program, and I think it's cool to see that tradition's carried on. As far as your guys that you were able to bring from Eastern, like Nate, Dane, Cedric, their games tonight, does that make any more of a statement having it against their old team versus just any other game? I think for them, they were really pretty disciplined about not looking at this as like, oh, we're playing our old teammates or anything like that. Like we really kind of approached this as a team like we're going to play a good basketball team that's done a great job in a few areas. Like they were top 10 in the country in steals, and obviously they're probably even better now after the 21 turnovers. But no, I think that we did a good job approaching that, and there was some, I'm sure, lighthearted jokes during the game, but our guys were just happy to play a Division I basketball game.
Dave, you mentioned there some of the lightheartedness. I mean, Nick and Basti kind of stared you down there a little bit. Just kind of, what was the emotion like for you, I guess, just standing on the sideline? They were kind of going at you a little bit, and your guys obviously played with a lot of energy there in the first half too.
We got competitors, and it's an emotional game, and it was all very good stuff. There wasn't anything that was personal, and it was just those guys competing at a high level, and it was fun to see those guys and play that game.
And then a couple of timeouts there in the second half, you were pretty animated about your defense and maybe stalling a little offensively. What were you seeing out there that was not the Washington State brand of basketball that maybe we saw in the first half?
I think kind of the turnovers and the gambles on defense are the two things that stand out basketball-wise, but it kind of comes from a place of not staying locked in. The leadership's got to be better. We can come and talk during timeouts, 4 times a half, 5 times a half maybe, but for the most part, it's got to be these guys finding ways to huddle, these guys finding ways to talk, and really buying into the fact that like a player-led program has to come from the players when there's stuff that goes wrong. And I think that's the next step we got to take is really trusting that leadership, because we showed how good we can be for the first 15 minutes. I mean, 16 assists in 15 minutes is crazy. Hitting all those threes, playing pretty solid defense. Like, there's a lot of good signs, but it's just a matter of can we do that for 40 minutes.
I think it was after the Iowa game you mentioned you want to see Sed shoot the ball more. You want to see him be more aggressive. 30 on Monday. He's got 22, 9 and 7 tonight. How have you kind of seen him respond to maybe that challenge, or even not even having to challenge him, knowing that he needs the ball and he needs to kind of take over in some of these moments, and as we saw tonight?
That's been the beauty of it. The last 2 games is I have not had to challenge him. I felt like he was not as assertive as he needed to be the first few games, and he watched the film. It was very clear some of the basketball stuff he had to do better, and most of it came from a mindset thing. But that kid adjusts, man. He's just a sponge. Whatever you talk to him on in film, he does the next day, and it's really just a joy to coach him.
Dane, 6 of 8 from 3, and I think as we've seen so far this year, Dane can get pretty animated when he starts to hit those threes and starts to find a rhythm. I maybe didn't have his best shooting games the last couple nights. Again, what does it say about his confidence that he's able just to keep ripping them and, again, go 75%?
He's a confident kid, and he's a great shooter. I think he shot 58% from 3 this fall, and when we were just in practice. And so, I think he came in the season without getting his feet under him a little bit, and now that he's got his rhythm, he's made a couple shots, he sees how it's going to go. I think he's starting to get hot, and he's going to. I wouldn't expect anything different. If he's open, he's going to make the shot.
And then a career high for Zay, again, after kind of last week where he had that 0 for 13 stretch, now back-to-back games where he really shoots the ball well. Just where, even in these first 6 games of the season, have you kind of seen him grow as a basketball player, going from the microwave that he was last year to being kind of a counted-on player and a counted-on scorer?
He's just a complete basketball player. I'm happiest with the 5 assists that he had. He's going to score the ball. He's going to shoot it. The way he got rhythm today was he had a couple great cuts. He got layups. He saw the ball go in. And I think it's just finding ways to, trust that if he can put pressure on the paint early, that's where those threes are going to come. Because any good team knows Isaiah Watts can shoot the ball. Any good team is going to take that away on the first action, the first side. And if he can put pressure on the paint and find a way to get us to a second action, that's where he's going to hit his threes. And it's starting to come more and more. I mean, it's really cool to see that kid have 22 and 5, 22, 5 and 4, hitting 4 threes. He had a good game.
There's a sequence where Isaiah lets a guy fly by, takes one dribble in, and takes a mid-range jumper, misses the shot. But I'm curious kind of what that play or that shot has in terms of his development, going forward.
He can score in so many different ways. The 3 he hit last game where he got the offensive rebound and spun out and shot the 3. He's shot some reverse layups. He's got a good mid-range game, and he showed that more in practice. He hasn't really shown that as much here in the games, but it's just a matter of finding the when and when do I take these shots? When do I attack like that? And that's the hard part about our system. It's not a very concrete, you're going to do this every single time, and he's just finding that. And you guys can see, by the results, the last 2 games, he's starting to come along. He looks better, and he's playing good.
21 turnovers. Are there any common denominators with those, or kind of where do those seem to come from the most?
I just think it's from lack of focus. We have a team that has had stretches where we don't turn the ball over. When we get focused on other stuff, or we get lost in the last play, or we get lost in whatever they're doing, I don't know. We have to be a little bit emotionally stronger to get those turnovers down, because it's tough. You're not going to win that many games when you have 21 turnovers. When you foul, I mean, how many fouls do we have tonight? It was way too much. 22 fouls is way too high of a number. And I think it's just kind of staying disciplined and staying focused.
We saw Nate score 19 tonight, and of course, second half kind of goes to the bench. On the defensive side of his game, what are you looking for him to improve upon and sharpen to stay on the floor the whole time?
Yeah, I think it was more just rotation stuff in the second half. I don't think it was we took him out in the second half for defense or anything like that. But for him, he's like our team, right? He has so much potential. He can be an amazing on-ball defender. He can really disrupt the other team's offense, and just finding ways to be able to bottle that up and not gamble while also keeping a guy in front and being disruptive. And again, it's a new system for him. It's a very new deal, and he's done a good job trying to take steps every game. You can see it on film. Whatever we really push him on, the next day he takes it and does it, and he's been good.
You talk about 15 minutes Washington State basketball, and got to find a way to extend that. What goes into playing, like Cedric says, playing a full 40 of that, and just how close is your team to getting there?
I think it's a matter of just leadership. Like, I don't have team captains. I got 3 seniors. That's how we want to do our leadership. I think we have every single person on this team, 1 through 14, is capable. I've seen them all do it. We got our walk-on Taeyeon that has called people out at times. Like 1 through 14 just has to step up and be comfortable holding people accountable. And they also got to listen. Like when their teammates are talking to them, we got to be able to listen and absorb that. And I think that's what it's going to take, because it's if it's going to be a player-led program, it has to come from them. And we've shown how good we can be, but we don't want to have the word potential hanging over our head.
And of course, a little bit of homecoming, as you've talked about. Were there any staff members or fans, or are there any other familiar faces you got to see today?
I mean, there was a ton. There was so many people that helped me along the way from Eastern Washington. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have this team that we have without all the people that helped us. The school did so much for me, and so it was really cool to see everybody.
Are you ready to be done playing Big Sky teams?
It'll be fun to go face some other opponents and go play some other teams, but it's been nice to have a little familiarity, and the scouts were a little bit more simple just because I've played them for 13 years, so a little used to them.
Have you seen Miracle, the movie?
Yeah.
So what this makes me think of is how Herb Brooks is coaching a bunch of players, and a lot of them from Minnesota that he coached in college, and then he's also coaching some other guys too. And I'm curious, how do you mesh guys that you've coached and know you super well and you know super well, and not make it seem like they're your guys and everybody else is like not your guys in the same way?
Man, that's a good question. I think that's something that we were pretty proactive about during the summer, making sure that we were splitting the groups up. We were talking to everyone. Like, I don't feel comfortable getting on guys unless I have a really good relationship with them. And so in the summer, I'm sure all the guys hadn't played for me. Like, God, he's kind of a jerk to those 4 guys he played for him. But really, like, it kind of, as the season's gone on, everyone's kind of meshed. They've done a great job. Like, they all understand the importance of it too. Like, if they didn't understand the importance of it, and I was forcing it, and our coaching staff was forcing it, it'd be really hard. But like, guys like Isaiah and Parker have been on an NCAA tournament team that was really close, and they understood how important that was. The guys we recruited, that was very clear to them in the transfer portal and the freshmen. Like, this is a team. This is not something where it's going to be an individual deal. Like, we're going to make sure that everyone is pushing in the same direction. And I think when you got guys that are bought into that, it makes it a lot easier.
Final questions here. All right, thanks for your time, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
Go Cougs!